My name is Max King. I'm the R&D software lead here at Formlabs. Formlabs is the leader in making accessible, high-performance 3D printing technology to help customers bring their ideas to life. So we serve, engineers, product designers, manufacturers, healthcare professionals globally. And these are customers we're talking about like Google, Tesla, New Balance, NASA, etc. And what this really means is we build physical devices like printers and post-processors, and we develop our own materials for those products and the software that ties it all together to sort of get from a model that you might have to a printed part in your hand. The team's about 50 dedicated software engineers across a number of functions, but I'd say overall Formlabs has probably 100, 150 people that commit code daily. And this is broken across, embedded teams that work on the firmware that drive the printers, take instructions, and operate motor moves. Desktop software teams that work on, how do you get your model into a prepared print and ultimately sent to the hardware. And then cloud product teams that run cloud native applications like managing your fleet of printers or looking at past print history. And then all of your classic sort of DevOps and QA teams to accelerate the teams. And we actually just kicked off a new team, APIs and automation, which is like super focused on software architecture and our API design, both for internal use and for external customers. Software is really critical at Formlabs to getting a successful print, right? It's what makes our printers go fast and be reliable, but it's also what helps us get parts that are really accurate with great surface finish. And these are the metrics that customers actually care about, right? So we're in this unique position where, because Formlabs owns the hardware, the material, and the software, very little of what we build is in pure vacuum. So a recent example would be, we're trying to improve the support generation algorithms to get customers that already have our products just better prints with a simple software update. And for context, maybe this is a part you're trying to print. In order to print this well, you want to hold it sort of in place during the printing process, and that's where these supports come in. But you also want them to be removable so you don't damage the part or cause defects in the outside. So if you're trying to improve part quality, surface finish, dimensional accuracy, and post-processing purely by how we generate these supports, you might think, oh, just choose different locations, choose fewer of them, but it's never really that easy, right? The intersection between the materials and the printer and these algorithms is like very, very tight. It may vary by printer type. What type of input out to the algorithms might you need to make it configurable enough to work on a variety of different materials? Like some materials are really sturdy, some are really elastic. They need different sort of varieties of support. So to top it all off, this process is like inherently non-deterministic, right? We're working in the physical world with physical world problems. So we need to build software that is both like functional for getting the output that we actually care about, but like we can print these and validate that the part is actually better. And that's like super rare from what you see in most software companies. We also have other challenges, sort of like we have a very, I'll call it, passionate user base, right? Lots of feature requests, lots of community-driven interest in what we're doing and what we should be doing. I 3D print myself. There's a huge wealth of community input that we're trying to build for. So the challenge is like, how are we focusing on the right problems? Are we lining on the pain in the correct way? Are we building the right solution? So we've recently been really embracing this demo or die culture, right? Build quickly and iteratively. Don't write 10-page documents and a bunch of Figmas and a bunch of diagrams. Go get working code so we can start to iterate and feel the experience and print parts with what we're trying to explore. And this is keeping us focused on the problems that the customers are actually experiencing. And you won't see this in classic SaaS or B2B, right? We have direct, unfettered access to our customers all over the world, and that's pretty unique. Yeah, the tech stack varies a little bit by team. So for our desktop teams, we're a C++ shop, right? We use Qt and QML as our front end. That way we can be cross-platform for both Windows and Mac and even Linux, which is super important for our customers. And we're dealing with algorithms that are super sensitive to performance and reproducibility. So it's really hard to beat C++ in that world. But I would say we also dabble in Python, Go, even a little bit of Rust for sort of prototypes or small POCs. But the bread and butter is really C++ and Qt. On embedded, it's much of the same, largely C++. But we have some extra additions like lower level stuff, thinking about custom Linux builds to operate on our bespoke hardware. We're getting into sort of the IoT-esque technologies like pub-sub network protocols for low latency, low power devices. And last but not least, our cloud and web products, they're this healthy balance of Django and React, deployed on both AWS and Google Cloud. And it has all your classic tools, relational databases, log stores, metrics, monitoring platforms like Grafana and the likes. So largely a C++ shop, but our cloud products are pretty comfortable in most modern web technologies. The interview process is pretty conventional in some sense, right? We tend to include a recruiter screen where they come and talk to you about what we're trying to build here, what problems we're trying to solve. The thing you might experience that's unique is that everyone you talk to at Formlabs is fairly technical. Even our recruiters deeply understand the product, they know what we're working on. And so that's kind of a good foray to understand what might you face in a day-to-day, and does this feel like the right role for you? It's as much an interview of us as it is of you to see if this is the right fit for you. And then naturally move on to sort of a classic take-home, either HackerRank or a take-home project. We try and give people problems that are realistic to the things you're going to face in day-to-day life. We're not asking you to write some binary tree search. Gemini can do that way better, or Claude can do that way better than anyone else could today anyway. So yeah, just trying to probe sort of your technical competency in software. And then classic on-site or a virtual technical loop where you'll meet with the team, a lot of cross-functional people you'll partner with. If you're interviewing and embedded, you might meet someone on our desktop software or vice versa. And we're testing, architectural thinking, cultural alignment, how do you problem solve basically. And I think something that's actually unique to Formlabs is sort of in the interest in embracing this startup spirit and fight the tide of becoming a big, slow company. Every incoming engineer actually meets with our CEO, who happens to be another Max, which is super rare to get that sort of leadership team, high-level engagement with a very large organization. And I think that's something that's like really unique to Formlabs. You should be excited to come work at Formlabs if you want to have a really significant and direct impact on a product that people use globally to build real things, right? When we ship a firmware update or some new slicing feature, we're literally changing the way that products are made, by thousands, tens of thousands of users every day. And we don't function like a traditional software company where product goes and decides some features and then design draws up some pixels and then engineering goes and implements. The engineers here in software are really expected and have the opportunity to contribute to the idea pool that we work on. And like I said, we're really trying to achieve this through this demo first culture. So we're really in a meritocracy. The best idea in the room wins. And I think that's really motivating to have that level of contribution in a really large industry leading company. I think that's super rare. And as you can imagine, the opportunity for personal and professional growth is sort of off the charts in this type of way of working, right? A small demo you make might become a beta feature and then continue to snowball into a major aspect of how the software ecosystem works at large. And of course, if you want to be surrounded by world-class engineers from hardware, electrical, materials, software, and you want to work in this highly collaborative, really interdisciplinary group, making an ecosystem of products every day, then this is probably the place for you.